Hey guys, Coach Nino here with Dark Horse Sports, and today I want to share with you something that may be the most important thing you need to know about building muscle. So when it comes to building muscle, the way you do it is the most important factor is intensity and tension as well. Now, when we think of intensity and tension, we might think of maybe some phrases we've heard of, like, that mind-muscle connection, right? And also when we think of intensity, we might think of weight. It's very heavy. You do reps, or a lot of volume, a lot of weight, all those things that build intensity. But before you get to those things, and those things are good, they're definitely tools that help with building muscle. The foundation for that is focus. So a focused intensity and intention and tension on the actual muscle. So what do we mean by that? Well, we want to make sure that there is tension or force on the actual muscle the whole time. So when we deal with working with building muscle, we care about the tension on the actual muscle the whole time, as opposed to if we're working on, let's say, a sports movement, then we're just working on the movement. So we don't care about the muscle as much. But if we're trying to make physique changes or actually affect the tissue, the body itself, then we definitely care about this. We care about intensity and tension. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to go through specific exercise and show you how to do this and how to build muscle in the best way with every exercise. But before we go into that, let's just demonstrate in general the principle behind what we're talking about. The most important part of building muscle, and that is getting tension on the actual muscle. So there's several ways that we can use to do this. One thing is tempo, or the pace at which we do the movement. So if we go slow, right? If we go very slow, that allows us, gives our brain, our mind time to think and time to make a mind-muscle connection and to focus on what we're actually doing. So if we go slow down and slow up, that will usually help us stay connected to what we're doing, to the actual muscle that we're moving. Now, combined with that, think about being active or focused during the whole range of the movement. So not just, it's easy to think, okay, I'm going to contract. Okay, I'm definitely going to focus on the contraction part, right? But focusing on the negative portion, on that lowering phase, keeping the tension on the muscle during the lowering phase and on the contraction phase. Okay? So far we talked about going slow, and then now we're also saying focus on the lowering phase as well. What helps you think about that is when we think about the body, the muscle that we're trying to work, think about the opposite muscle, whatever that is, right? So in this case, it's the bicep. The opposite muscle is the tricep. So even if I am working on my bicep, I'm going to actively pull my tricep down at the bottom position. At the end, I'm going to squeeze my tricep. From that point, now I'm going to initiate with the bicep and then really squeeze. Again, I'm going to pull in the opposite direction, actively pull, contract the tricep, then boom, focus on the bicep. Just to make this clear, give another example. So let's take a bench press, right? When I am doing a bench press, I have dumbbells. I'm squeezing across, active, of course. Obviously, I'm working chest. But now on the negative portion, I'm not just letting gravity fall and bring my arms down. I am pulling my back into that bench, activating my shoulder blades, pulling back, and then from that stretch position, I pull all the way back. Then I feel a stretch here. I'm using that stretch, contracting, and then moving across, right? So if I turn around, you'll see same thing. So when I'm doing that bench, I'm pulling actively on the descent, pushing across, right? Pulling, pushing. So again, I'm active throughout the whole movement. I'm never wasteful in my intention. Always focused, always purposeful, always working actively. And that is going to make a huge difference in building the muscle, right? So by focusing on the opposite muscle and using that opposite muscle in the lowering or negative portion of the movement, we're being active. We're not just letting gravity take over, right? It's not just, oh, gravity takes over, work. Gravity, work. No, it's work, pull down, push up. Pull myself down into position, push back up. So if we can do that for every exercise, for every muscle, that is a ton of intensity, of focus and intent on that actual muscle. You will feel the difference as opposed to just going through the motions and moving for amount of reps and moving big weight. Not saying, again, those are things we can stack on top afterwards, but if we get this principle down, it will be the most important transformative thing for your physique and your muscle building. So to review this very important principle of building muscle, we're going to use 3 tools to really be very intent and focused on what we're trying to do on the actual muscle itself, not the movement, right? So we're going to use tempo. We're going to be very slow and controlled. Second, we're going to use the opposite muscle of what we're working to pull down into that position at the bottom. And then third, really piggybacking on that number 2, we're going to be active in the descent and on the on the contraction and on the negative, okay? So using those 3 things, that's really gonna help us to laser focus on building muscle. So next, we're going to look at different body parts, the exercises that would go along with them, and we're going to implement this, really show you how we focus, what are the cues we're thinking about to get the most out of these exercises and build muscle.